these issues of where these trans people who have committed crimes, where do they go? That's a real issue. And you're preventing the issue from being solved by trying to play these semantic games. All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How's everybody doing? So I was scrolling through Twitter this morning, and within about 5 minutes, all of what I'm about to show you popped up in front of my face. So some of this is, libs of TikTok. I know libs of TikTok is not breaking news by any means. What I want you guys to pay attention to is the level of escalation we are dealing with. Think about a decade ago, 2013. What was on anybody's mind who's not a POS was trying to get marriage equality through. If you're a little bit younger, you may not remember that as of Obama's first term, gay marriage was not legal nationwide. And so that was the push. And there was definitely people who were homophobic and super religious and whatever, saying that they were against that. And then there was also people who were saying that, oh, this is going to lead to things like, relations with animals and with children. And we were all like, come on, that's so homophobic to be saying that just because two people want to love each other, that it's going to lead to this. When of course it's not, right? But fast forward to today, and now 20% of Gen Z identifies with the LGBT community, which seems to be way less and less about who you love and way more about changing language and controlling it. So let's jump into this first one. Every time you think they've gone as far as they can go, they do this.
What is emoji self? Emoji self is a gender-neutral form of neo-pronouns where an individual will replace a pronoun with an emoji.
Replacing your pronouns with an emoji. That's normal.
Now, this is primarily only through text or through written communication because you cannot express an emoji in person.
So how is it a pronoun? It's not a pronoun if you can't say it.
But an individual will replace their pronouns with an emoji. So in their bio, instead of having he, him, they, she, they will have an emoji.
Why? What possible explanation could make sense for this?
But what emojis will they use and why do they do this? Let's talk about it. Like noun self, which is another video I can make, individuals will choose an emoji that best reflects them and their gender identity, or will pick an emoji that they just like.
There it is. They will just pick an emoji that they like. This is now just a game. This is fashion. This has nothing to do with anything except fashion.
As simple as that. And they can have a multitude of emojis that they use depending on maybe if they're feeling more femme one day, more masc one day, more androgynous one day, or just because they like a variety of emojis that they use interchangeably in text.
Do these people have jobs? Like, have you ever had to fill out a tax form or something and you're putting emojis?
There's no rules about emoji self. You can just pick whatever you want to use. Some people may keep the emojis in similar themes, so maybe all fruits, or maybe all sports, or maybe
all fruits is right, you know what I mean?
Maybe all clothing. And some people just have fun with it and choose as many wild and crazy emojis as they like to replace their pronouns through text communication. So this is
insane. But, kind of what we expect to some extent. The fact that this is going further and further and further and further and further. So this is an interview with the Scottish governor or prime minister or whatever. And it's just, this stuff is getting too far. You're not even able to have a real conversation anymore.
My question is, are all trans women women? You haven't answered that question.
Well, that's not the point that we're dealing with here.
That's the question I'm asking.
Trans women are women.
Why are you asking that question? To trip her up?
But in the prison context, there is no automatic right for a trans woman.
So there are contexts where a trans woman is not a woman?
No, there is. There is.
What do I talk about all the time? Semantic obfuscation. They are the ones who change the definition of what a woman is. And now they're trying to use the fact that we, the rest of us who aren't swept up by this BS, they're trying to flip that back. And now, because we know the game, everybody in this exchange knows that this is a game, but it's still being made to look her. It's still being used to make her look bad, even though she's not saying anything bad.
Circumstances in which a trans woman will be housed in the male prison estate.
Is there any context in which a woman born as a woman will be housed in the male estate?
He's not even listening to her answers. It's straight up gotcha journalism. Straight up just trying to get her to say anything that fits, the fact that you don't like her.
Look, we're talking here about trans women.
And I'm now asking about women born as women.
I don't think there are circumstances there, but...
So it's different for trans women?
Well, yes, and I'm not...
So they're not equal?
That is not... There is a risk assessment process done for trans women that takes account of the nature of the crime. Clearly, significant concern arises out of sexual crime and whether it's appropriate for them to be in a female prison or a male prison.
My question...
The problem with this is that as annoying as it is that this is how a legitimate prime minister has to engage with the media, the fact is these issues of where these trans people who have committed crimes, where do they go? That's a real issue. And you're preventing the issue from being solved by trying to play these semantic games. Now, this part, I am very, very sad that we got here. I am very, very sad that we got here because I thought it was extremely disgusting for anybody back in 2013 to talk about how marriage equality would lean down this slippery slope. Well, unfortunately, we have already fallen down that slope.
I wouldn't count that as being in love or sexualizing a kid, but I'm talking about, do you think if a 3-year-old says yes to, for example, being touched by an adult who wants to touch, do you think a 3-year-old, do you think that should be legal?
Do you think that if a 3-year-old says yes to an adult touching them, do you think that should count as consent? Do you think that should be okay? Look at the smile on this guy's face.
The 3-year-old says yes.
If they both want to, absolutely, I support their decision.
How you're talking about a 3-year-old? You're respecting a 3-year-old's decision? They don't even know what that means.
Okay, but what capacity does a 3-year-old have to understand sex?
An infinite capacity.
A 3-year-old has an infinite capacity to understand sex. This is just being used to say, of course it's not a problem for us to do this type of stuff. They can consent just like anybody else. Unfortunately, friends, some of the homophobes were right. We have fallen down a slippery slope. It did not need to go here. And I don't know how we stop it, but it's happening. Unfortunately, I am 1000% in favor of marriage equality. I am 1000% in favor of love whoever you want to love, be whoever you want to be, all of that stuff. Leave the children out of it. This is not about LGBTQIA plus whatever. This is about the children. If you're as disgusted as I am, please let me know in the comments below and leave this a like because I am sure this is going to get demonetized. Until next time, guys, I wish I had a happier party to bring to you, but this was another Indian Jesus party. Your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.